Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be going over how to multiply polynomials. In my last video we talked about what polynomials are and how to add and subtract them, so make sure that you check that out before watching this one. But we're going to talk about specifically how to multiply polynomials today. So let's begin with an example. Suppose you're asked to multiply this monomial times this monomial, so x cubed times x to the fourth. So what are you going to do with that? So what you have to realize is the meaning actually of what x to the third power is and what x to the fourth power is. So here I'll highlight x to the third in red and x to the fourth power in blue. And so what that actually means, x to the third power, is you take the the number x and you multiply it by itself 3 times. And same thing with x to the fourth power, you multiply it by itself 4 times. So if you expand it out like that, you'll basically see that you have 7 x's, and that can be written as 7 x to the 7th power. So that's actually going to be your answer. So when it's just like this, you guys, actually you should realize that all you need to do is add the exponents. So when you guys do your work today, this extra step here, you don't have to write all this out if you don't want to, but you do have to realize that when you multiply two monomials like this, you have to add the exponents. So you have 3 plus 4, which gives you 7. So the answer here would just be x to the 7th power. So in our next example, what if you have some coefficients here? So here, these are 2 more monomials, 5v to the 4th power, or excuse me, 5v to the 2nd power, and 3v to the 3rd power. So when there's coefficients, here's what you need to do. What you need to do is rearrange everything so that the coefficients are together, 5 and 3, and that the variables are together, v squared and v to the 3rd power, okay? So here I've highlighted the coefficients in red, 5 times 3, and the variables in blue, v squared times v to the 3rd power. So when you multiply coefficients, that's just multiplying numbers. So 5 times 3 gives you 15. And as I mentioned earlier, when you multiply monomials, you have to just add the exponents. And by the way, that only works if it's the same variable, but in this case it is. The variable is v. So we have v squared times v to the 3rd power, meaning that there's 5 v's inside here. So this would be v to the 5th power. So that's going to be our answer. Our answer is 15 times v to the 5th power. Okay, everyone, so in general, I wanted to give you guys a rule. So if you have, x to the a times x to the b, what that basically means is that you add the exponents, a plus b. So here in this case, you have x to the 4th times x to the 8th. That's going to give you x to the 12th power. And if you have a coefficient, like I have in this example, like c and d, what you basically do is bring the coefficients together, c times d, multiply them, and then bring the variables together and add the exponents. So in this example, we have 5 times 6 gives us 30, and x to the 4th times x to the 8th gives us x to the 12th, because you have to add the exponents and multiply the coefficients. So in general, that's a good thing to remember. You have to multiply the coefficients and add the exponents in order to do a monomial times a monomial, okay? All right, everyone, so let's move on to the next example. So here we have a monomial times a polynomial, and let's take a look at this example. So here we have a monomial, 4 times b to the 2nd power, and this would be a trinomial. It has 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. So 4b to the 2nd power would be this monomial, and 2b to the 6th power minus 4b to the 4th power plus 7 would be the trinomial. And you're asked to multiply these two. So how are we going to do that? So basically what it comes down to is you have to distribute the monomial to all the terms. So you can go ahead and do it like this, okay? So kind of like you can distribute a number, you got to distribute the monomial to all these terms right here. So let's do it one at a time. In red, I'm multiplying the monomial, 4b squared times this first term, 2b to the 6th power, okay? And remember what I mentioned earlier is that you have to multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. So 4 times 2 is 8, and 2 plus 6 is 8. So this is going to be 8 times b to the 8th, okay? Remember, multiply the coefficients, the big numbers, and add the exponents, the little numbers. In blue here, we have 4 times negative 4, which gives us negative 16, and 2 plus 4 gives us 6. So this is going to be negative 16 b to the 6th power. And then finally, we have 4 times 7, which gives us 28. And then this is b squared, and there's no variable here, so we just leave that as b squared, and that is going to be our answer. 8b to the 8th power minus 16b to the 6th plus 28b squared is our full answer. Okay, so that is how you multiply a monomial times a polynomial. All right, everybody, so for our last example, we're going to go over how to multiply a polynomial times a polynomial. So this will be our example 4. So let's take a look at this example here. We have a binomial, 6p plus 7, and we have a trinomial, 7p squared minus 4p plus 2. So we got to multiply these two. So when you guys multiply a polynomial times a polynomial, what I suggest is to draw what's called an area model. So that looks like this. This is basically a rectangle. It's a 2 by 3 rectangle, and the reason why it's a 2 by 3 rectangle is because this has 2 terms and this has 3 terms. So before you start multiplying, what I'd like you to do is to draw a box like this, depending on how many terms there are, and then you're going to put each of those individual terms on the upper part of the rectangle and on the left side. So here we have 6p and positive 7, so 6p plus 7, and here we have 7p squared minus 4p and positive 2, which are all these terms right here. Then basically what you're going to do is multiply multiply all the monomials together inside of the box. And the box is really useful because it allows you to be like really organized with your thinking, and it makes sure that you that you don't skip any steps. So let's multiply the 7p squared times these two first. So to get this number, I did 7 times 6, which is 42, and p squared times p is p to the 3rd power. Here we have 7 times 7 is 49, and p squared, there's no variable here, so we just leave that as p squared, okay? And for the middle two boxes, we're going to distribute the negative 4p, so negative 4 times 6 is negative 24, and p times p is p squared. Negative 4 times 7 is negative 28, with just a p right there. And so we have negative 28p. And then lastly, we're going to distribute the 2 to both of the terms at the top. So 2 times 6 gives us, that should be a positive 12 right there. Let's go ahead and fix that, positive 12p. And then 2 times 7 gives us 14. So that's going to be these two terms right here. Okay, so once you have all 6 terms, then what you have to do is basically group them all together and add like terms. So I've done that right here. These are all of the terms that we got inside of our box. So 42p cubed is right here, and so on and so forth. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of group them by like terms. And remember, like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. So here I have this only one p cubed is in red, there's no other p cubes. These two in blue are p squared, these two in green are p, and this is your constant, okay? So we're gonna add the like terms, and that just means to add the coefficients. So 42p cubed is gonna be right there. And then we add 49p squared minus 24p, so 49 minus 24 gives us 25p squared. Then we add the coefficients for in green, so negative 28 plus 12 gives us negative 16. And then finally we have our constant, which is 14, okay? So that is going to be our answer. Notice how there's no like terms here. They all have different exponents, so that's going to be the solution to the multiplication of these two polynomials. Now, I will say that rather than do the box, if it makes sense to you, you can also sort of distribute the 6p and the 7 to all the terms like this, okay? So this would be another way of doing it. I have found, though, that students sometimes get lost in all of these like arrows and doing it all like this, so you're a lot less likely to make a mistake if you do the box method like this. But this method also works fine if you'd like to do this on your homework, okay? So that's how to multiply polynomials in this course.